Thank you for tuning in to the Helium Radio Network. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
Welcome to the Insurance Sucks podcast. Yeah, we know it sucks, but you have to buy it, and you probably don't have the smarts to figure out what you need or where to find it. That's why you should listen to Eric and Daryl, brought to you by QuoteSavage.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Insurance Sucks. I'm your host, Eric Remmel, joined by
Daryl Stidham.
And we're here telling you all about all different types of insurance, what you can do with it, why it sucks, but why you need it, and hopefully bring a little bit of fun to your day in the process. Please visit our sponsors, QuoteSavage.com. They're great enough to sponsor our podcast here and take care of us. So if you would, please visit their website, check it out. They do home, auto, and life insurance.
That's right.
And even if you already have it and you just need a comparative quote to see if you can save some money, check them out. I know they've saved quite a few people a lot of money.
Yeah, they have, and they're a great service, really quick, really efficient, and they make insurance shopping painless.
And the best part is they're nice.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to deal with a bunch of a-holes on the phone. Like all of our friends that are sitting on hold to get, new health insurance in the marketplace right now because it's the end of the year.
Crazy. Those poor bastards.
I know, exactly. Well, last episode, we talked a lot about, some of the things that homeowners insurance covered and didn't cover particularly. Some things that you would automatically think by default were included with your policy. And we learned, 15 of them, I think.
Yeah.
The things that weren't actually covered that require extra policies or things you can't even get insured for.
Yeah, some made sense and some were like, what?
Yeah, the flood, we're in Florida, but like nuclear attack, I mean, come on, you figure that would at least be covered.
Nah, it's too unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. You never know what Kim Jong-un is going to be like, today's the day.
Goodbye. Bleep. But we thought it'd be fun to share, some different takes on some extreme claims that have been made in the insurance industry. But we also figured it might be helpful, just a little revisit to explain to people how to file a claim. Because there's a lot of different types of claims. There's a lot of different questions in regards to how to file a claim. How you file a homeowner's claim is different than how you file an auto accident claim or a life insurance or a health insurance claim. But they all have some similarities, and they all have some pretty consistent things you need to do in the process.
Right.
So we figured we'd share with you today what those are, what they look like. But while we're at it, have some fun talking about some crazy, outlandish claims that people have,
Those are the best.
Those were filed in the past.
Those are the best because they're insane.
Well, we learned in the last episode that you can't file for PTSD or emotional distress if something happens at your house. Like, so if someone dies or your house burns down, you can't claim, hey, I have emotional distress, I need to go see, a psychiatrist and da-da-da-da.
Right, that's what the health insurance is for, not the home insurance.
Right. So it's good to know. Yeah. But I know you got a couple of crazy claims. Before we get started about how to file a claim, why don't we throw one or two of those out there, the craziest claims.
All right, so I'll give you this one. This one is, let's call it, the stupid file. A woman who was in a bowling league, she had hardwood floors in her house, but she was snowed in and couldn't go to bowl, but she wanted to practice. So she cleared the furniture out of her hardwood floor hallway, and she started bowling down her hallway. Well, wouldn't you know it, it damaged the hardwood, tore up the drywall.
Of course it did.
She filed a claim.
Seriously?
She filed a claim.
How can, is that fall into how stupid do you have to be? Like, you damage your own house and then file a claim.
Well, this stupid file.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it is. Thankfully, the insurance company paid $0 on that claim, and I assume she was probably canceled or non-renewed shortly thereafter.
Look at the bright side, her rates won't go up.
Yeah, because she won't have insurance. But yeah, so those of you out there looking, I'm going to do this stupid thing and then cause damage to my house and then file a claim, it's not going to be covered. I'm sorry.
So if you're just a little reference point, if you're at your home and it starts out with "hold my beer" or "watch this," you probably don't want to do it.
Right. If it's you. Now, if it's one of your friends,
let them
because they'll be covered either by your home insurance or theirs.
That's crazy. I still remember vividly, we talked in past episodes working at Allstate, for a couple of years while I was in college. And I still remember this to this day because I thought it was the funniest thing. We had a guy who had to review his file, who had multiple claims for trees falling on his car. Like, he had a car, tree fell on it, and of course he claimed it was a storm. Different car, new car, parked in the same driveway, another tree fell on it.
Okay.
And the third time he filed a tree claim, they were like, wait a second, because he was up north. He wasn't in Florida. I can't remember what state he lived in, but it was a northern state.
All right.
And he tried to claim that the snow had damaged the trees, the snow on the tree caused it to be heavy and caused it to fall over in a high wind. But at what point do you stop parking your car in the same exact space? I mean, once, okay, I get it. Twice, and then a third time?
Yeah.
It seemed a little fishy, so they opened an investigation. It turns out he was cutting down trees to fall on his car.
That's wouldn't they be able to see, the clean cut as opposed to a break?
I'm assuming, because I wasn't the adjuster on the case, just helping out. I'm assuming at some point that he probably did something to, maybe speed it along, like maybe he used part of a chainsaw and then let it sit for a couple of weeks or something. I don't know.
Clever.
I have no idea, but
clever.
But they denied his claim, and I'm sure he was uninsured shortly thereafter.
I have a story, and we can get to that, about a guy and his watches.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Well, we want to make sure we get across today how to file a claim and what you need to do.
Right.
And so there's some helpful things. I mean, pretty much for the most part, I would say the first thing is to know where your insurance documents are and know where your insurance cards are, where your policy documents are, your coverage documents. If you're, I guess, put it back in the stupid file, if you're dumb enough not to have an insurance agent, keep them in a centralized location, whether it be a safe, a firebox, a desk drawer, somewhere where you know where all your stuff is together, so you can easily find it. Nowadays with the advent of technology, most insurance carriers, at least in the auto realm, are on your phone. You have a digital card.
Yeah.
And most of them have documents you can download and save on your devices. But ultimately, the first piece would be to have an agent and to call your agent if you need to file a claim.
Right. But I'm going to be honest with you, most of the time, most companies now have taken the claims process out of the agent's hands. So we can guide you and we can tell you a little bit of information on what to do and how to do it. We are not the claims people. The companies don't want us to be claims people.
You're out of the loop.
We're out of the loop. We get the same notice as you do most of the time. The only difference is we can call the underwriter and they'll talk to us like we know what we're doing and know what we're talking about because we know a little bit more about the insurance process than you do.
Yeah.
But the documents are important.
Obviously.
But if you get home at 2 a.m. and there's a pipe burst in your wall,
you're not going to find them.
You're not going to find them. You're not going to care.
But you got to at least have the number to contact the insurance agent or the company.
Right. But the first thing you need to do, call a restoration company.
Well, I think we should probably back up because there's different types of claims. So for a auto accident, first thing you should do is know your insurance carrier. A lot of people don't even know who it is.
Right.
Know the telephone number to contact them. Know your policy number. But more importantly, what I've learned, at least in my experience, have a piece of paper and be able to write down all the information. So typically what I keep in my glove box or with my cell phone is some way to record.
Yes.
Take pictures, and video, and potentially capture any information for the party. Like, first thing I do, it's been a while, knock on wood, since I've been in a car accident, but last one I was in, the first thing I did was take a picture of the driver.
Yes.
When they got out of their car and their license plate.
Yes.
So if they left the scene of the accident, I knew exactly what they looked like and what the license plate was.
Absolutely.
Second thing I did was get their information or exchange information, and then did you call the police or do I call the police?
Right.
Who calls the police first?
Who calls it? And then you have, so anymore, at least in Florida, I've learned that unless there's an injury,
don't call the police.
Don't call the police.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to do anything.
Nope. So if there's been an injury or if there's been property damage, they want you to file a police report. But that unless your vehicle is immovable or someone is hurt to the point where they feel that they need medical care, they won't even show up.
Right.
You call over the phone, give them the details, they open a police report, they call the other party involved, and that's that.
That's it.
Then you call your insurance company and give them the police report number, and they take it from there.
Right. And most auto insurance companies now, the apps they have, it'll give you a list of what to do.
Yep.
The steps to do, information you need to gather. And because we all have cell phones now, if you don't, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
Or actually, I might feel really happy for you.
Well, they're probably saving a couple $100 a month.
Right. Plus, they're not tethered to this thing.
Yeah. Probably have real friends that they talk to.
What's that like? No.
I don't know.
But you take pictures.
Yep.
License plates. The
Damage.
accident, the area. You don't take close pictures. Get as wide as you can safely so that we can see the whole scene, because that's only going to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, injuries, call the police. If not, let it go. Call a tow truck company, get your car where you need to go. Go ahead and start the claims process. Call your company. If you're at fault or not, call your company. Tell them what happened. Tell them to expect a call from a different company or someone else.
Absolutely. I can't believe how many people don't call their insurance carrier and report accidents or claims. Blows my mind. Working past in the insurance industry and the healthcare industry, we'd literally have someone come in for treatment in our office and call the insurance carrier, and they'd be like, "Oh, they've never even filed a claim. They're here for medical treatment. What do you mean they don't have a claim number? Like, they've not even opened an auto accident claim."
Nope.
It's crazy. But to Daryl's point, talking about, so that's auto accidents pretty much in a nutshell.
Right.
Homeowners claims are completely different because you could have a fire, you could have a flood, you could have any number of events going on, in your home. Obviously, if it's a fire, don't go in.
Yeah, please just call 911.
Or get out, if you're in the house. Same with a flood, but for the most part, like you said, your first call is probably going to be to some kind of emergency service or a emergency repair service, like a water remediation company or, a plumber or someone that's going to handle that.
Yeah, so, if it's a fire, obviously call 911, get the fire truck out there, let them deal with that. Then you're calling a restoration company. If it's water damage, you're calling a restoration company immediately. They usually provide dry out service as well.
Yeah, they're usually, most of them are 24/7. So like, even if it's 3 a.m,
they'll be there.
They'll be there.
The biggest thing is make sure they and most of them do, but make sure they document everything from the start. Documentation is your friend to get the maximum payout.
Absolutely.
So after you call the restoration company, call your carrier. If it's after midnight, please call your carrier. Don't call your agent. We'll be asleep. All right.
You're going to get sent to voicemail.
Yeah, you will. But call the carrier. Call your agent. Let them know what's happening. The next thing that's going to happen is your carrier is going to want to send out an adjuster. Hire yourself your own public adjuster.
Yes, this is actually a thing, and they do exist.
They do exist. You need to have one representing you because they can help dispute the insurance company's findings and their payout amounts. Now, I'm an insurance agent. I should not be telling you that. Should not be telling you that, but I am. Because you know why? If I have a claim like that at my house, I'm hiring a public adjuster. It only makes sense if they're working in your best interest, not the company's.
Yeah, it's no different than hiring an attorney or someone else to represent you.
Exactly.
Insurance carriers are going to do what they can because, again, it's a business. They're going to do what they can do at the cheapest possible reimbursement.
Yes.
It's not always the best. It's usually the cheapest. So if you have a bunch of damage internally and you're not an adjuster and you don't recognize that, once you sign the check and you sign the paperwork from your insurance carrier, you're done.
Yep.
There's no options to go get additional work done unless it's an extreme circumstance,
Right.
So one of the things that public adjuster does for you is they give you the opportunity. They go through and do an inspection and say, no, you found this, but we also found ... and here's what I would recommend.
Right. And then we can talk into other specifics about calls and everything else when we come back from this break.
Yep. And make sure on the break you check out our sponsors, QuoteSavage.com, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in to the Insurance Sucks podcast, brought to you by the folks at QuoteSavage.com. If you're looking for some really good, affordable insurance rates, check them out, QuoteSavage.com. They do home, auto, and life. And even if you have insurance coverage and you think you got a great deal, it doesn't hurt to give them a call and at least get a competitive quote to make sure you're getting the best possible coverage.
Absolutely.
For the best rate. So before the break, we were talking about some how to file a claim and some funny insurance claims. Before we get back into filing a claim and why you need an independent adjuster, why don't you hit us with one of your other funny insurance claims?
This one may be the best one I've ever heard. I just found it not too long ago. So a homeowner was on vacation.
Okay.
And his garage door was locked and the lock was broken.
Okay.
So it couldn't open. A burglar had broken into his house, went into the garage to get tools, locked himself in the garage. The burglar was there for over 1 week.
Oh my gosh.
He survived on dog food and soda.
Wow.
Okay. He then sued the homeowner for mental anguish. And he won.
Seriously?
$500,000.
Oh my gosh. How horrible is that?
That's terrible. First of all, he broke into my house. Second of all, he ate my dog's food.
And drank all my soda.
And then he sued me.
Is that because you didn't have the best dog food?
It was O'Roy. It wasn't, Blue Buffalo. Like, sorry.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. So it just goes to show you have to have insurance because you can get sued for anything.
For literally anything. Even, a burglar being in your house.
I have a really funny true story, if we have a second.
Yeah.
So I have a friend, known her many years, 25 years. We worked in corporate America together. Friends a long time, friends of the family. She's only a couple years older than me, but had her kids younger in life. So, she's a mom, 3 kids. She's lives in Florida, a couple counties north of where we're at. A little bit more rural community, so people are a little bit more, I don't want to say hillbilly, but a little bit more country,
Okay.
She's engaged to a Hispanic male. She's a white, Anglo-Saxon,
She's a wasp.
and so really nice lady. And we're not doing anything racial here, but unfortunately this insurance story goes racial.
Okay.
So she's blue collar, median worker. She works actually ironically for a very large health insurance company.
Okay.
Makes good money as an adjuster, does all this stuff. And one of those people doesn't take crap from anybody really, just kind of tough and, stands up for herself and her family members well. They had a tragedy in her life. Her dad left her a lot of money, so she's fairly well off. Works because she wants to, not because she has to. And they lived in I guess you call them a townhome, attached home, like where they're attached to each other.
Yeah.
Their neighbor, white, Anglo-Saxon American dude, because a little country, a little rural, used to pick on her fiance because he's Hispanic. So he would make racial comments and, just inappropriate stuff. So since the time they lived, they were neighbors, they were always at each other's throats. Well, one day he comes in and he drops, he's having a bad day at work. Apparently something happens where he runs over their front yard, like part of their lawn. Their driveways are next to each other, does some damage to the front of the house. Fiance comes out and says, dude, what are you doing? And he tells basically, you F and uses a bunch of racial slurs. Get back inside before I shoot you. So my friend comes out, gets involved. Now she's a little bit more tough and she's like, don't you dare, gets in his face a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, this guy is a retail manager for a local business, wearing his full uniform with his name tag, everything on. So my friend calls up and says, hey, I don't know if you understand this, but your employee literally just did this, and he's wearing your name tag, your shirt, all over your company vehicle, like very large telecommunication company that rhymes with Verizon. And he's literally in a wrapped vehicle that has all this stuff. So she calls and tells him he gets fired.
Okay.
And now, mind you, he got fired, which they found out later as an investigation. This was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, it wasn't the thing that got him fired.
Okay.
He did a lot of stuff because if you can tell he's that horrible of a human being in person, he's that horrible of a human being everywhere else. So he's been on the bad list at work for quite a long time. And this was just the straw that broke the camel's back, and they fired him. He sued her for lack of future earnings because he claimed that by her reporting him to the employer, he got fired. We're now in the 5th year of the lawsuit. Like, it's still going, like literally. And because he did a background check, found out she had family money, decided to sue her. And we're talking like $500,000. At first it was $1 million, and then he reduced it to $500,000. Now I think it's a couple $100,000. And that's just for standing up for your right for someone that did damage to your property.
Right.
She's now being sued. So she's had to spend all this money on attorneys and jump through all these hoops.
Well, I would hope that her homeowner's insurance would be paying for those attorneys.
At this point, I don't know. I don't. They actually had to leave, so they actually put that house up for sale, or maybe turn it into a rental property. I'm not sure, but actually had to leave their home and move to a new home because the harassment got so bad.
That's crazy.
From no fault of they did nothing other than live there, than buy the house next door, and their neighbor is that bad of a human being that he caused property damage and did all these issues, and then now their life is impacted because of this horrible human being.
I've got some cranky neighbors, but.
I mean, that takes the cake. I've never had a neighbor that bad.
That's bad.
But I feel bad for them. It's like they didn't do a darn thing to deserve that other than buy the house next to this guy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's interesting. So before the break, we were talking about, filing a claim, filing an auto insurance claim, which you need. Obviously for homeowners, and things of that nature, it's different for, flood and fire and all those types of things. So one of the questions I had, you're talking about independent adjuster. An independent adjuster is almost like an investigator that works for you and goes through and tells your version of the story, what they actually see. I equate it almost to having a home inspector before you buy a home.
All right.
They go through and say, hey, insurance company, these are all the things we found. But the cool part is independent adjusters, you don't pay for.
That's right.
The insurance company actually ends up paying for them. They bill the insurance company.
Kind of,
in a way.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's not money out of your pocket.
Right.
Which is pretty powerful in itself. So if you can have someone that come in and be a voice of reason and negotiate on your behalf, seems worth the investment.
Absolutely. I mean, they use the same computer programs that the insurance companies use. It's Xactimate. It's sending contractors use to estimate, projects.
It's hard to argue with somebody when they're using the same tools that you have.
Exactly.
And they find more damage or, look at it from a different angle.
Right. And they can always go through a bunch of things. And the great thing about having the adjusters, a lot of adjusters now will come and be with you while the company carrier adjuster is there doing their work as well. That's important.
Yeah.
Because when the adjuster from the carrier asks you a question, what you say matters.
Yeah. How you say it, what you say.
Right. Say, okay, well, I see here that this is the damage. When did you notice it? If you don't know, don't say, 3 or 4 days ago or a week ago.
Say, I don't know.
I don't know. They can't hold that against you.
Right.
If you say a week ago, well, now you noticed it a week ago.
Now you have a hard date.
But you filed the claim 2 days ago. That falls outside the first 72 hours, and now you're negligent. We're not going to pay for that.
Yep. Which is smart. I mean, it's smart on the insurance company. It's a business. I get it. But it's not smart for a homeowner not to have that level of protection.
Right. And they should be able to have, the same professional advice that you would have in court.
Yeah.
And that's what the public adjuster provides.
Yeah. They're your backup.
Because as an agent, I would love to be able to tell people this.
But you can't.
But I can't because I represent both sides.
But because we're on a podcast, you
I can do what I want.
Yeah.
I represent both sides. The adjuster only represents you.
Yep. And the insurance carrier adjuster only represents the insurance carrier.
Exactly.
So we covered the main topics of filing a claim. Some of the things that come to mind here in Florida, we don't have earthquake claims, but we do have hurricane claims.
Right.
So what do you do in the instance of a hurricane or maybe a sinkhole? Does that differ?
They do.
So in a sinkhole, you can't really call the insurance carrier because your house is gone. You call 911.
Right.
Let them notice a big crater where your house used to be.
Hopefully you have an agent. You go visit them. Usually an agent will set you up. Water, maybe a hot meal, depending on how nice they are.
Yep. Get you a hotel or something, whatever.
Draw
the line there.
Draw the line there, because now we're losing money. But they'll take care of you, get you set up. Usually the insurance carrier will have you in a hotel that night. Sinkhole, sinkholes aren't covered. It's cash over ground collapse. So now your home's been eaten by the ground. That's where that comes into play. And usually it's open and shut. Here's your check for the amount of your home. Bye.
Yeah, have a great day. Yep.
We'll see you later. For hurricane, that falls under what we call CAT code, so catastrophic situations. So it's CAT coded is what we call it. So in the instance of a hurricane, what you'll see the companies come in with their big buses with a team of people, and they'll set up in insurance villages in Florida. So you'll have State Farm Travelers, Security First, Citizens,
Allstate.
FedNat, Allstate will all be there, basically just taking claims. And depending on the company, someone will take the claim, go, okay, and they'll send the adjuster right out. Okay, see, XYZ, here's a check for your living expenses, here's a check for food, here's a check to get a deposit down for a contractor for a roof. Go. And the great thing about those claims, they don't count against you.
That's good.
So if if you have a fire, that counts against you. Hurricane? Nope. You're good. Doesn't even count as a claim.
That's good, at least.
Yeah.
I know when certain cities get decimated, especially here in Florida, when a hurricane comes across, it's tough because you've literally wiped out thousands to hundreds of thousands of houses in, a community, and there's literally, in some cases, nothing left.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Hurricane Katrina, the totality of that damage and what was left afterwards. I mean, that was just mind-numbing.
Look at Mexico Beach in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
Gone. It doesn't exist.
Literally wiped out. Gone. The entire town.
And people are like, well, why aren't they rebuilding? Most of those homes were 56 years old.
Yeah.
They didn't have insurance.
Yeah. South Florida. I mean, look at when, what was, I can't think. Was it Andrew? Not Andrew.
With 92?
No, the one that went through a couple years back. I can't remember. Irma. Thank you. Irma went through and literally decimated.
Yeah, Marco Island.
Yeah.
Got hit hard.
Real bad.
So, so those don't count against you. The companies are really good. I know that in the case of one company, after Hurricane Irma, they had drones in the air the day after the storm.
Wow.
And after Hurricane Michael last year as well.
That's powerful.
They were taking pictures of roofs, contacting the homeowner, saying, hey, we see damage. Where are you? We're going to cut you a check. We'll overnight it. So they were able to get the check for the roof to start work immediately.
That's awesome.
So in those cases, insurance companies really respond as fast as they can to make sure that people are made whole.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. When you lose your home, you're literally starting over. It's tough. Well, we're out of time for today, but before we break, why don't we give our listeners one more funny story, give them something entertaining.
So this is the one I've been holding on. It's a guy in his watches. And he had a $10,000 Rolex. And he had it insured. And he lost it. And he called the insurance company. And they sent him a check for $10,000. He bought a new Rolex. He insured it. He lost it. They sent him a check for $10,000. He bought a new Rolex. He lost it. He called him to claim. They sent him a check for $10,000. He bought another Rolex. He lost it. He called in a claim. This time the insurance company says, we're going to investigate this one. Because that's 4 Rolexes that you've lost in the span of 18 months.
Yeah, it seems a little fishy.
That's a little weird. So they went over, and the inspector was going through his home, just seeing what was going on. Opens the medicine cabinet. There are 5 Rolexes, all identical, in his medicine cabinet.
Insurance fraud?
Insurance fraud. Got hit with 10 years in jail and $200,000 in fines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would he have identical Rolexes, first off?
I don't know.
It's not very smart.
Well, it's not.
Because they gave him a check. It's not like they said, here's the replacement Rolex.
Yeah, no, here's a check, but we got the same one. So we had 5 of the same Rolexes. And
maybe he was going to go as far as he could, and then he was going to try to sell them or something.
He's a criminal. He's not smart.
Yeah, good point. Well, we're out of time today. Thanks for listening, as usual, to the Insurance Sucks podcast. We really want you to check out our sponsor, show them some love, quotesavage.com. Let them know we sent you. And until next time, we'll be back. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Helium Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and should not be construed in any way as advice from Helium Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by producers, writers, and editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the express written consent of Helium Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.